CGC launches autograph grading. Find out what it costs and how it works and how big of a scam it is.
Bush boy. Afterlife with Archie #1 heats up again with big HBO news behind it.
And a forgotten Joe Kubert greytone masterpiece is in this week's Underrated Books. All these things and more on the new episode here of Bronze and Modern Gods. Richard, I do this how many times a month, and yet I still screw up here and there.
How many years? Oh, come on. That'll always happen.
I know. What's going on, everybody? Follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Bronze Modern Gods. Like, subscribe. Blah, 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 blah. Richard, you went to a funny book show today.
Yep. It was the last. They're called the Harper shows, even though it's no longer really the Harper shows. That's what I call them. Nice hotel in a nice suburb, so it's a very safe place to go. And
this is in Northeast Ohio. If you're new to the show,
Ohio, yes, they do like I think 4 or 5 shows a year, and this is the last show of the season. Really good dealers that show up there are nice, reliable dealers. Some really nice selections. Our friend Eric's from Comics Are Go was there. Nerd Box, which is another shop that I go to a lot, and our buddy Kmore, Kevin from Kmore Comics, was there with a booth as well. And so it was a good selection of books from Golden Age and all the way up through modern. Our mutual friend Forrest was also there. We met. We both had a limited amount of time, so we went around. Spent a lot of time digging through Golden Age boxes, which is something that was a lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff. I purchased some nice things. Forrest got some nice things as well. Overall, I think a majority of the pricing was realistic. I didn't really feel many of the dealers were trying to had overly high prices. Although there was one gentleman who was there who was selling off his collection, and some of the prices he had on his books were just insane.
He's taking it personally.
Yeah, he was. It's one of those things where it's your baby, and if someone else is going to have it, they're going to have to pay through the nose. And I was happy to leave them there with him. But it was a good show. Again, we had a limited amount of time, so we had a very targeted walk around. They had a Foxhole #5 there.
Why didn't you text me?
I thought you already had Foxhole.
That's the one I'm missing. I'm missing 5.
Oh, Jesus.
A grenade cover?
No. This is the machine gun. They had a machine gun.
Oh, okay. No, I do have that one. Okay. All right. Richard is forgiven, everyone. Live.
I'm sorry. I thought you had. I do have
that one. I need the one where he's throwing a grenade.
Oh, no. It wasn't that one.
Okay.
I looked at it. It was not in a good condition. I was concerned about rusty staples, and ultimately, I said no. I don't want to start on that and then be like John and trying to fill out that collection. So
it might be a good time to do a Foxhole run. I see a bunch of them on eBay now, and they never used to come up. So I wonder if someone's shaking the tree.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Yeah.
Forrest got a Prez, the last issue of Prez, which he was looking for. I like that series.
Prez.
Yeah, not exactly on the same plane. Kevin was there, and we talked with him. This was his last show for the year, so he's packing things up. Where I was sporting one of his shirts through the show. But overall, it was a good time. I always enjoy that show because you know what you're getting, and it's a relaxing atmosphere. Not a lot of high stress going through that show. Did you get some books? Are you going to show and tell today? I got a couple books. Okay. One that I really liked, and the other one I thought I just couldn't pass up. All right. Teaser for later in this episode as we pivot to the soundtrack of the week. You thought you were going to escape this week, didn't you? Poor listeners. Back to me. Real short and sweet. Billy Squier, Don't Say No. Richard's laughing, and members are laughing right now because they tuned in last Thursday to the live stream. I was waxing poetic about Billy Squier. Yes, his career was destroyed by one music video, Rock Me Tonight, where he, dances like a fey bowl of spaghetti.
That's the only way I can think of describing it. It's like, what is going on? But the album, Don't Say No. You may think that it's out of Richard and mine wheelhouses. It's not new wave. It's not synthesizers, but it's just big, dumb cock rock at its best. You cannot argue with The Stroke. You cannot argue with In the Dark. You cannot argue with My Kind of Lover. It's a great record.
Oh yeah, that goes back to my time before alternative music, when it was Foreigner 4 and Billy Squier and AC/DC and the rock and roll kind of thing. Then the synth stuff came in. Yeah. I was spoiled forever.
We were done. Produced by Mac, who produced all those Queen records. That's kind of why it has that same feel as like Play the Game and things like that. Moving on to comic book news. In the thumbnail, you probably saw this. CGC now announces autograph grading. For $25 for up to 2 autographs, you can get your signature series autograph graded along with your book. Richard, is this the scammiest scam thing that has ever scammed them?
It really is. I mean, who asked for this? Well,
PSA does it.
Again, who asked for it? So what happens? You have a 9.8 that has a signature on it. So it's the yellow label 9.8. You send it into them. You give them $25 plus shipping and handling back to them and a reholder, because you got to pay for the reholder. They will give it a grade, just like the cover, just like the comic, from 0.5 to 9.8. So your 9.8 book ends up getting a 7.5 signature.
I'm worried about all the Stan Lee people. They have all the Stan Lee signatures. Let's back up. How do you grade a signature?
I know. What is the qualification?
Yeah, Stan Lee's signature is Stan Lee's signature.
Right.
So, he was tired this day and it's smeared. So, okay. Todd McFarlane, are they all going to get 9.8s or 10s? Because Todd is very meticulous when he draws his signature.
Yeah, Clayton Crane too. I mean, but like you say, how do you grade a signature?
It's the stupidest blanking thing I've ever heard of.
It is finding revenue, creating revenue for themselves.
Do you smell that desperation?
I really don't see this being very popular, because no one really can look at a signature. I could look at a comic and say, okay, this book is a 9.8 candidate. I'll send it in. I'll get a 9.6, 9.8, and I'm happy with that, because that's what I internally grade it as. How do you grade a signature in your head? How do you look at a signature and say, this Stan Lee signature is an 8.5 versus a 7.5?
They published an entire guide on how they grade books.
Right.
Are they going to do that with the signature, so we know? Is there going to be any transparency? Why do I have a feeling that certain people who are heavy submitters or facilitators are going to get preferential treatment? We don't know that. But to answer your reholder question, Richard, I'm just going to read from their announcement verbatim. Already a CGC signature series collector with oodles of amazing autographs in your collection? Reholders are welcome. CGC's autograph experts will grade the autograph only. No regrade required for the comic as long as the CGC holder is intact. Excuse me, slam on the brakes here. What? You're not going to regrade the comic? You're going to open it up, remove it from the case, remove it from the inner sleeve, and then grade the autograph? Or are you not removing it from the case and you're going to wedge in a new label? I have a real problem with this. Reholders get regraded for a reason, because sometimes the person doing the reholdering screws the book up. So someone screws the comic book up and puts 2 spine ticks on it that break color, and it's no longer a 9.8. You're just going to slam it in a new reholder and say, oh, we promised them.
Right. Now, are these only verified signatures or authenticated signatures included in this?
I tried to figure that out. I could not figure it out. I think they're specifically saying signature series book, so I think it has to have a yellow witness label.
Okay, because I have my Alan Moore signature on the on my Miracle Man #1. I'm not paying $25 to have someone look at it and critique its quality. I'm good. I really am.
Guys, are we making a mountain out of a molehill here? What are your thoughts? Tell us in the comments.
And all their examples had grading of 10. They had not one single example that wasn't a 10. So that, you know, trying to make people think that this is what it's going to be. It's so scammy.
I can't wait to see all the smeared Stanley ones come back. I can't wait. I cannot wait, you guys. Well, if you want to send this in and get a signature first and have your autograph graded along with it, it's our hot book of the week. Richard, is this up your alley? What was this?
I love after our pick this week is Afterlife with Archie. Great use of the Archie IP, in my opinion. There's a big increase in copies sold this week versus last week after it was announced. An adaptation of the story is in development by HBO with Greg Berlanti and Warner Brothers producing. It's a cool, like I said, a cool take on the Archie mythos. You're adding horror to Archie, which is something I never saw coming.
I don't think anybody did. Written by Roberto Aguirre Sacasa, who also created Riverdale and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I think the art by Francesco Francavilla is amazing. I think he drew the Dark Shadows book for Dynamite too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's going from pure memory. At least he drew the covers. Yeah, as Richard said, turns the wholesome Archie universe into a full-blown horror saga when Jughead's dog, Hot Dog, is resurrected by Sabrina, and he brings the zombie apocalypse to Riverdale. What is interesting about this, it started off as kind of like a modest direct sales only experiment. So it was very under ordered at the time. Everybody thought it was just a dumb gimmick, and it took off. All those early issues underprinted, went into multiple printings. Raws are still only $20 around, $20 in your mint.
I find that just makes this a bargain. I mean, some of the covers in the series are excellent. There's a Betty and Veronica cover, them in skimpy clothes, that is one of my favorite. Overall, it's if you like Archie and you like horror, this is like peanut butter in your chocolate kind of thing. This is a great combination, and I'm glad it came out because I think it did spawn Riverdale, and it gave people the idea that you could take the wholesome milquetoast Archie comics and make it something that had an edge to it, which it didn't have before.
Yeah, a bit of controversy around this when it came out. It was like, what are they doing? But sometimes you take a big swing and you hit a home run.
Yeah.
What do you say we round the bases and do a little show and tell? Hey, sports ball references. How you feel about the Guardians?
I really don't have a strong opinion. I'm not a sports ball kind of guy. I really am not.
Why would we ask Richard about baseball playoffs and he freezes in the camera?
I have nothing. I have not even a point of reference.
All right. I have a theme for the first time in a few weeks. It's something you all have been desperate for. You didn't even know how desperately you needed this show and tell theme until I tell you today. It's all about the Eternals. Yeah. Get excited.
Yeah.
Basically, the theme is every time that Marvel tried to revive the Eternals without Jack Kirby.
Okay.
All right. So starting in the late 90s late 80s, early 90s, Eternals special #1, giant size. Look at that Mark Teixeira cover. Ugh, Icarus to the extreme.
I don't think he could touch his fingers tips together with those arms.
How's he going to scratch his back? I have an itch. This actually was a compilation of a bunch of 8-page stories that I'm going to assume was originally meant to run as a serial in Marvel Comics Presents. And they had so much inventory, so they just threw it into this one shot. There's a couple of one shots like this. that where they just had so much inventory for Marvel Comics Presents. There's an Inhumans one that compiles all those, and a Shang-Chi one, and this is the Eternals one. This was a whopping $250 when it came out. So I can't imagine it sold a lot of copies. It's not very good.
No.
Which, by the way, will be a theme here as we go along with these Eternal reboots. What is your first show and tell book? Something you got today?
This is something that our friend Evan got me.
Oh,
Racer X #1.
there it is.
Yeah, this is, if you're a Speed Racer fan, I'm trying to find the right angle here so I don't block the mic. If you're a big Speed Racer fan, this is a book in the series of books related to Speed Racer. It is this the Top Cow or Mad Cave. I'm sorry, Mad Cave. It's a good story. It kind of tells the Racer X story. He starts off kind of like a baby driver kind of feel to it. But it gives you the background of Racer X, which you only get sketchy in the actual television show. So that gives you a more solid background. And even in the live action movie, which I love, by the way, it's one of my favorite movies. So good pickup. If you like Speed Racer, if you like 60s comic or cartoons like that, this is kind of an Americanized version of it. The artwork inside isn't the best. It's not bad. It's digital artwork. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it has its limitations in the format. Let's just call it that. But I enjoyed it. I enjoyed reading it, and I'm going to continue on with the series.
Richard and I will not go down the Speed Racer Wachowski masterpiece again. We've done that how many times on this podcast?
Yeah, I know. And anybody who disagrees that it's a masterpiece is just wrong.
You're wrong. It's a fantastic movie, and you're wrong if you don't like it. The end. Don't leave a comment.
Save it. Save your comments for something else.
Save it for something else. You will not budge, Richard and I. All right, Richard. 10 years later, it kind of, again, trademark preservation comics. All right, we got to use this trademark. The year 2000, kind of at the nadir of the direct market in comics, low print runs. They're being real careful about launching new series. Brings us the new Eternals with Apocalypse.
That
All right.
is just
the logo's horrible, but Jose Ladron, we love us some Kirby inspired Jose Ladron, no problem there. So I'm all excited. I'm like, I plunked down how much was this? $3.99 in the year 2000.
Wow.
I plunked down, get it home. It is not Jose Ladron inside. Oh, a Gil Kane bait and switch. You got your Don Heck under my Gil Kane cover. This is a very earnest yet misguided attempt to relaunch the Eternals by tying it in with the mutants and Apocalypse. There's so many things wrong in this book. Carcass, who is a character who is a giant red monster. He's been around forever. He's colored green throughout the book. Oops. At the end, they announced they're a new team. They're not the Eternals. They're called the New Breed. And so, like, Icarus is now Sovereign. Psychos is now Psyche. Circe is now Mesmer. It just gets worse.
Oh, that's horrible.
None of that stuck. So, who can we blame for this one? Carl Bowlers and Michael Higgins. So,
was there an issue 2 or?
No, one shot, 53-page story, big story.
$3.99.
Yeah, again, I have to wonder if it was created for something else and it was just repurposed. But strike 2, you got one more chance. I actually got a couple more chances. It's been revived how many times? What's your next show and tell book?
Next one is a fun one. Okay, this is 1966, right? Adventure Comics number, what is it? Number 344.
I know it well. I had it in the live sale this weekend.
Oh, did you really?
I sure did.
And it's you got for the people on the podcast listening on to this, it's this is a Legion book. You've got Superboy here on the cover, and they're Legionnaires that are locked away in looks like a prison camp,
It's
And
the
it says,
super Stalag of space.
yes, it's the super Stalag of space, it says on the cover, which just had me chuckling. As a Hogan's Heroes fan, Hogan's Heroes was out at the same time, in the same time period. So I'm almost sure they took the name from that as opposed to the Stalag 17 movie. But it's just the whole concept of a Stalag full of superheroes was just hilarious to me as I saw it. As you can see, it was $10. I actually got it and another book together for $20. So people were doing nice discounts. We'll see the other book when I as the next one I bring up. But
Super. He's doing his best Corporal Newkirk imitation coming out from the tunnel.
It's just great. It's just great. If you like funny titles for books, this is great. And this copy is okay. It's got a stamp there on the cover.
Ooh,
You see their over adventure. There's a stamp.
What does it say? Can you make it out?
It says Giga Snyder.
Okay. Well, Giga Snyder, Richard's got your old comic book.
Yeah, you want it back, it'll cost you $11.
Oh man. Yeah. That's a nice cover though. I like that cover.
Oh yeah, I love Legion. It's just good eating.
Yep. So throughout the 2000s, they have tried to revive the Eternals over and over again. You had a Neil Gaiman miniseries that, again, you think Neil Gaiman, Eternals, this is going to be great. Not so much. I don't think there's any great loss that it can never be reprinted again. You had a couple more relaunches. There was a Marvel Max mature readers version of the Eternals that it stunk to high heaven. Oh, it was awful. And then the movie announcement, of course, made Marvel have to try to relaunch the Eternals again. The only good thing about the relaunch were the variant covers. There's a Kirby variant cover. I have a 1/100 that I have a 9/8 slab, and this great Walt Simonson cover for Eternals #1.
Yeah, that is great. I love it.
I do like the logo. That logo works. Mm-hmm. There's Ajax and Cersei, Celestial, and the classic cast. So you think, oh, great, this is going to be good. Back to basics. No, you get in the book and
who wrote it?
I think it was there are so many different versions and iterations of this. Let's see who wrote it. Let's find out together, everybody. Kieran Gillen. I did like that, and Isad Rubik. I liked half of this. I did read it.
Rubik's good.
Yeah, it's good. They were really, really pushing the Eternals at this point. They did a whole Jack Kirby large format book. They reprinted the aforementioned Neil Gaiman miniseries. It was like, all right, we got this movie coming. People are going to be hungry for some Eternals once it opens, because this is going to be our next big franchise.
Mm,
yeah. We all know how that turned out. For more fun, go back into our archives and look at our first episode in the thumbnail. That's all I'll say. What is your final show and tell book, Richard?
My final book is I thought this was really cool, and this is hot rod racing cars. I love the cover here. Look at that. All those nice 1960s goodness racing cars. Let me see. It's like Jaguars, and you get a Ferrari, yellow Ferrari there, and just this is when race cars were fun and dangerous and unique. Again, Speed Racer kind of lives in this particular time period because their cars are all unique. It's not the cookie cutter air tunnel, computer designed cars like they are now. These are hammered from solid pieces of steel, like God intended it to be. Anyway, yeah, this was $20 book. I couldn't pass it up. It's got some patina to it. It's definitely not perfect, but the cover right there, it was just amazing.
Did he have more Charltons, or was that it?
There were a lot. This was a dealer that is always there, and for some reason he had quite a lot of older books, and from early Silver Age to Golden Age, and we were going through them. We left a lot behind because just they weren't cheap. I won't say they're overpriced, but I think he had priced them correctly, so there wasn't any real bargains
Sure.
in there. But if you're looking to finish up some runs, they had a bunch of horror. There's a bunch of DC horror, there's a bunch of war books, um, and things like this. There was a run of these. There was some sci-fi books there as well. Just a great selection of non-superhero books if you're looking for that.
Oh man, I wish I could have gone to that show. That's great. Well, excellent. Hey, if you want to see more show and tell like this, an extended 90-minute live chat with us as well, you might want to become a member here on YouTube. Just hit the join button below next to the subscribe button for the low cost, less than a comic book, of $2.99 a month. You get exclusive live member only streams every week, extra show and tell, shout outs right here, your name, we want to give you all your shout outs. And you bought me new microphones, thank you for that. You help us pay for StreamYard, you help pay for our time, because our friends over at Comic Book Canon, they announced they're on a hiatus. I do not blame them. This is a hamster wheel that never ends. But we love you guys and we love doing it. So help support us if you can. If you can't, we like you being here anyway. Just hit join next to the subscribe button below. Or if you don't want to, just subscribe anyway or hit like on this video as we read your viewer mail.
You've got mail.
Richard, my first piece of viewer mail comes from our buddy Shrews Clues. What's up, Shrews?
Hey, Shrews.
Hi, folks. Another great episode as always. Regarding cross-gen, yes, it absolutely still has a huge following, and I am one of those loyal but heartbroken readers. Over the years, I have collected full runs of many of their titles. Ruse, probably my favorite, with pencils by the late, great Butch Guice. And with Disney's acquisition of the brand, I hope that they finally release some of these in a collected/omnibus format. Would I be excited to see these characters in movies? Not really, but bring on the books. Thanks again, Shrews. Yeah, heard from a lot of cross-gen people. Like I told you, it's like Valiant. If you loved it, you loved it, man. You want a full run, or like the Ultraverse. There's lots of Ultraverse people out there too.
And Shrews' comment about not being terribly excited about seeing them in a movie, I think Marvel has really beaten that out of people. Their excitement about their characters showing up. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I have to agree with you. Me and Doom, I'm tempering my excitement about it because the MCU has not been kind to heroes or villains recently.
Yeah, I think we can look back at the early 2000s Marvel with the original Captain America movies and the Avengers movies as that was the golden age.
Yeah.
Now we're in the difficult atomic age where nothing is sticking. It's your first piece of viewer mail.
My first piece of viewer mail is from our buddy Greg McPherson. And Greg, and he has to say, we were talking about the numbering schemes for Miles Morales, which just seems to be it's up to 250, which I have no idea how they got to that number. Looked it up, and the Miles numbering includes the original Ultimate Run, Ultimate 6, Ultimate Requiem, Ultimate Spider-Man, Volume 2, and then all the Miles books since then. So that's quite a mouthful.
Okay. Do you agree with that?
I do not. This whole thing about we want number ones, but we also want to show high numbers to show that we have continuity is I just don't agree with it. I don't like the whole legacy numbering scheme at all. Just call the number what it is. If you have to continue to reset it and do it that way, that's fine. Just own up to it. Don't try to do this where you're glomming together a whole bunch of numbers Frankenstein-like just to get yourself up to a high number.
I don't mind the legacy numbering. I don't mind it when it's done right. This just does not seem like it was done right. Why are they including Ultimate 6 and Ultimate Requiem miniseries that aren't part of the regular series? It should just be. And why are they even including the original Ultimate Run? That wasn't Miles. That was Peter Parker.
Exactly. This just doesn't make any sense to me unless you're trying to artificially get yourself to some place to sell an anniversary, a special edition of a book because you want to jump up revenues for a certain month.
Yeah, and that's Absolutely not what they're trying to do at all, Richard. Sarcasm. Does that translate on the audio version of the podcast? You guys let me because you can't see me rolling my eyes. From the Troll Lord, who emailed us at bronzeandmoderngods@gmail.com. Well, he has two names. His email address was the Troll Lord, but he signs this off as Slick Willie. So whatever you like there. Hey, speaking of the podcast version, hey guys, as usual, I really enjoy your Monday shows on Spotify. Slick Willie, you can't see me. Haha, look what I'm doing.
That's terrible.
That's cruel. Great stuff indeed. So I'm not sure who this will hit a home run with, either you or Richard, but it was announced that the Amazing Spider-Man newspaper strips will be compiled and reprinted in softcover. That is totally awesome, and I'm on board for that. Tell us all what you think. Excelsior, Slick Willie. Well, Slick Willie / Troll Lord, I'm excited for the first few years. John Romita drew it for the first few years. Stan ostensibly was the writer. I believe it was actually ghost written by Roy Thomas for a good portion of the run. But that John Romita art is so lush, and it translates. You could tell he loved Steve Kniff, Steve Canyon, and Milton Caniff. Gosh, I got his name wrong. The guy who drew Terry and the Pirates. I mean, you could tell John Romita was just waiting to draw a comic strip and use that brushwork. Love it. I'm actually gonna try to find the soft cover of the first couple of years. After that, it gets passed to lesser hands like Fred Kita, Larry Lieber. Hey, how did he get that gig, Richard? How did Larry Lieber get that gig working with his brother Stan? I don't. Poor Larry.
Always Larry shadow of his brother.
Yeah, he had a good run on Rawhide Kid. You know, a very Kirby-esque. He was a workman-like artist. How's that? Did you read the Amazing Spider-Man comic strip when you were a kid? When it was coming out?
and I'm 100% with you. The comic strip is completely different than the comic book. He had X number. I forget how many panels you had in a particular strip.
3 or 4.
But you had to convey a certain concept and advance the story, but give enough so people felt like they were getting something out of it more than just a part of a larger whole. So it's a difficult format to work in. And I thought the earlier strips were great. I petered off. Maybe it was because, like you're talking about, maybe it was because of the change in artistry. When I was a kid, I read comics in the Sunday paper religiously because that was the only part of the paper I cared about.
Yeah.
But as I got older, I also changed formats of what I was interested in, and maybe it just didn't have as much of a draw to me as it did in the earlier years.
Do you remember when the Cleveland Plain Dealer had the Howard the Duck comic strip for the first couple of months, and they dropped it, and there was such an uproar because Howard was from Cleveland in the comic strip. So everybody was writing letters complaining to the Plain Dealer, bring the comic strip back. It was such an uproar that the local TV station, TV8, hired a guy, Art LaFredo, who was on the Big Chuck and Little John show.
I remember that.
To show and read the Howard the Duck comic strip that was not running in the paper so people could finish the story. And it was like a little 5-minute segment before Mary Hartman every night, Monday through Friday. Is that crazy?
That is awesome. That is awesome.
You remember that, right?
I do. And I also remember how terrible Mary Hartman was.
Excuse me. I know you didn't just say that. One of the
it was terrible. Oh, it was bad. It was Archie Bunker bad.
Yeah, it was comedy. By the way, Troll Lord, Slick Willie, I'm sorry you're on listening to the audio podcast because I'm going to show right here my original John Romita Amazing Spider-Man comic strip that everyone on the YouTube version can see. Look at that art there, Richard. That's the Dr. Doom episode.
You are evil. You are.
I'm just teasing you, Slick Willie. I'm not showing anything. All right. What is your next? What's your next piece of viewer mail or viewer mail? Yeah.
Yeah. Next one's about my apparel. It's the Ramp Local talking about, hey, Richard, love the shirt, man. almost edges out last week's, but both are fuego amigo. I was wearing, and I'm not wearing it today, but it was another Kmart comic shirt. This one was with Batman. It was one of the early Batman, eared Batman, kind of a corner box. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was yellow, and it was about this. It was rather large. Unlike most of the shirts, like this one's silk screened. That one actually wasn't silk screened; it was actually a print. But most of Kevin's stuff is silk screened. Great shirts, great material. I love them.
Give them a plug. Where can they find them?
Find them at kmortcomics.com, KMORT comics with an X.com.
There you go. Awesome. All right, let me wrap up viewer mail with a piece we got from our buddy Frog Brawler. The email subject line was "Greetings from Blackhawk." Inside was this image of Blackhawk, Colorado. The welcome sign, the city limits of Blackhawk. And then he also sent me an image of the Sasquatch Casino with the text, "Damn Sasquatch took my $3.50.
Okay, that has to be the smallest casino I have ever seen. It's basically a red brick building with white windows that looks to be the size of, I don't know, 2 restaurants slammed together.
I am fascinated by the sign on the side advertising a 50-cent ATM.
Yes.
So if your gambling fix is so extreme that you got to pull 50 cents out of the ATM,
I'm hoping that means 50-cent fee, as opposed to, like you say, you take it out in 50-cent increments.
I'm sure you're right. I like my desperate gambler better, who just has to feed that one-armed bandit. Thanks for that, Frog Brawler. I love it. Blackhawk, Colorado. Let's go back, like we were talking 40 years ago, 1985, with our favorite segment, the Old Farm Rule. I do like saying everything is our favorite segment because
it is. We enjoy every part of the show.
You give one kid a bicycle for Christmas, you got to give all the kids a bike for Christmas.
You do.
What do you got?
Old Fart Rule this week, I picked a book called Death Rattle, Volume 2 from Kitchen Sink Press. This book came out in 1985. It was a first issue of a follow-up to the original Death Rattle, which came out in 1972. I've got a cover of that here as well. I love this cover. This poor woman is what looks like crawling into some dark cave, and there's the remains of a person there and something else coming up behind her. Definitely not a position I would want to be in. Let's put it that way. But this is the return of underground horror. A remarked revival of Kitchen Sink's adult-oriented anthology, blending the rebellious spirit of the 70s from the original show with the underground comics scene of the underground comic scenes with the 1980s, which were more of a modern, sharper production values. It's a showcase for mature creator-owned storytelling. Unlike mainstream horror titles from Marvel or DC, Death Rattle gave creative control to independent artists to explore taboo subjects, violence, death, moral decay, without censorship. There's a number of notable contributors, including in the early days, Richard Corbin, Rand Holmes, Tom Vidich, whose distinctive, often grotesque art styles help define the look of alternative horror in comics. It's an anthology format. It's all in black and white, and it is definitely a darker turn. If you're used to DC horror or Marvel horror, it's a darker feel to it. While it wasn't widely circulated at the time, it emphasizes adult themes, things that Marvel and DC may shy away from. But it's as I said earlier, the reintroduction of the underground comic style, and it opened the way for a lot of books that have followed up, that have gone to that darker underground style of books that draws more from that EC kind of horror legacy than from DC or Marvel.
Can we give it up for Richard Corbin? I mean, he's got something for everyone. Here's your naked woman. Here's your naked den while you're at it. Thank you,
Yeah.
Richard. We appreciate you. Do you have a run of Death Rattle? Do you have some?
I don't. Do you?
I used to have some. I again, one of the purges, that was some of them to go. It was definitely for a horror audience, that's for sure. Some of the stories were actually very sarcastic and almost funny. But let's move on to our underrated books of the week, because you've got more horror for us.
I'm going October here.
I see that.
My underrated pick this week is Eerie number 3 from Warren back in May of 1966. This is I love this issue because of this beautiful Frank Frazetta cover.
Awesome.
For those on the listening on the podcast, it's this kind of Naga-like feature character, so like kind of like a creature from the Black Lagoon looking character, and he's towering over this man in a scuba suit. It's just an amazing. It's one of those things I would love to have the original art, but I was
going to say, for the people on the podcast, Richard's holding up the original Frazetta painting right now.
I so wish. This particular issue isn't in particular very valuable, but I love this particular cover. This is a magazine size book, and I guess the purpose of magazines, and I never thought of this, the purpose of doing a magazine format versus a comic format is that you didn't have to do the comic code.
You snuck around at Mad Magazine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you were able to get away with things that you couldn't do in a comic format in this magazine size book, but it was a comic at heart. Mm-hmm. It's hosted by the stories were introduced by this character called Cousin Eerie as a narrator host. Again, this particular issue isn't incredibly valuable, but I think it's just such a beautiful cover to this book. I don't have this, mainly because magazine size formatted books in me, I have a hard time just kind of storing them.
If it ain't Love and Rockets, I'm not keeping it.
Yes. I'm here. Are you familiar with this, John?
Oh yeah, eerie and creepy. All the Rook, all the Warren titles, Vampirella. I would look at them on the shelf and think, nope, there's no superheroes. I'm gonna pass. Also, they were expensive.
Well, yeah. Well, this book, you can get raws of this book for $30-$40. It's not overly expensive, although $30-$40 for a book of not really any, super significance, and a magazine is pretty good money.
For a Frazetta cover, that seems to me a bit of a bargain. My underrated book of the week is this one, GI Combat number 78. I've shown it before. I'm showing it again. Features one of the most striking gray tone painted covers of the early Silver Age. I don't know if it was painted, though. I know it's definitely one of Jack Adler's gray tones of a drawing by Joe Kubert. And it's just amazing. The limited color palette, it's almost monochrome. It gives it that haunting cinematic feel. And this is...
You want to describe the cover for...
No, they can watch it on YouTube. I'm sick of... No, I'm just kidding. GI Combat has a soldier on his knees on a beach, and he's got he's firing with his machine gun. I'm guessing it's a machine gun, or is that a Luger? And he's got a handful of sand. He's just anguished that he's on the beach, and the ocean behind him. It's all done in this light yellow, almost tan kind of monochromatic style. This is a book that's not too expensive right now to compare to some of the classic GI Combat covers, like GI Combat 83 with the planes all going down. I think I got this copy for about $40. Very good to find copies, range from 60 to 70 on eBay right now, or the asking prices. Not a lot of sold prices lately. And it's underrated because it's really overshadowed by some of the more famous war covers on Our Army of War and the Sergeant Rock issues. And I've got my copy, so I have no problem hyping this book up. I don't have to worry about the prices going up because I've got mine. There she is. What do you think of this one?
I love all of GI Combat. I mean, there definitely are some issues that are highly prized, but I think the whole run is great. I like war stories for comics, and that comes because when I grew up, I read a lot of, because that's what, I was Commandy when I was at the barbershop. They would always be a stack. There would always be a stack of war books there too. So between Commandy and GI Combat and some of the other Korean War style, war books, that's kind of what I cut my teeth on when I was really young. So I always have a soft spot in my heart for war books.
Yeah, I would be bummed when I'd go to the barber and there'd be like, Planet of the Apes and Commandy and Conan. Where are the superhero books? We don't want this.
No superhero books.
Unless it was Superman. There was always a Superman there.
Nope, not me. It was very limited. There were all kinds of magazines, adult magazines like Jet and Ebony. You got to remember the kind of barbershops that I went to. Comic books for the kids, it was kind of an afterthought. We'll throw a couple over here, and it was always a very limited selection.
Or you go into the doctor's office or the pediatrician or the dentist and highlights for kids.
Highlights. Oh my goodness. What? I would love to find a highlights #1 that's not all colored in.
People collect highlights. God, I wonder.
Probably people collect everything that's nostalgia. That's
gotta be tough. There was a point where, I just talked about how I don't collect magazines, but years ago, there was a point where I wanted to get all of Dynamite magazine.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And I gave up on that real quick. Hey, members, we're probably going to see you a little early this week. I have to confirm with our guest member first, but we might see you Wednesday night because I'm on a plane on Thursday. So we'll see you either Wednesday or sometime after that. Everyone else, thanks for being here. We will catch you on next Monday's show.
Yep. Everybody, stay safe.